This is going to be my fourth time trying to put out a podcast episode. I mean, coming back in a full 3 year cycle. I think the last time I posted was year 2023. But I decided and I felt like it was vested on me to also put out my opinions. And I feel like by releasing a podcast episode, I'm choosing to be among those who are not afraid of dialogues, opinions, middle grounds, conversations, those who have voices, who are not cowards, who do not choose death as the easy way out to say, okay, I don't want to participate in this, I don't like this person's opinion. So that being said, this episode is dedicated to remembering the life of late Charlie Kirk, irrespective of the fact that I am a Nigerian. That does not exclude any facts. It does not stop me from representing the human life. Just in case you're saying, oh, you're Nigerian, why should it matter to you? Charlie Kirk was a human being. And it's not just Nigerians that live in Nigeria. We have the USAs, we have Chinese, we even have a freaking Chinese firm. And I'm sure and I know it's not just people who are Americans that live in America. We have Nigerians there. So to protect the lives of our Nigerian brothers and sisters so that it doesn't flip from a political and a religious agenda to we're just going to go on a spree killing, and you are like, okay, yeah, it's not that Nigerians do not care about their families over there. And again, to speak out in reference to the fact that opinions are what makes us human beings. Opinions help us reason, help us understand each other, help us communicate, help us appreciate each other. Because if opinions were not meant to matter, you won't have people being introvert and extrovert and the world is still moving. You won't have people who find it hard to express themselves but are so happy that there are people like lawyers who are able to defend them, who are able to express themselves for them. If you fear opinion that much, then I just feel like you are the main person that is not supposed to have been on this earth. But that's by the way, because I'm not going to let issues like this put me on the edge, irrespective of the fact that it can, and there are reasons to why our emotions are heightened right now. If you're new here, my name is Vivian, and this is A Thin Line with Vivian. It's my podcast, and I hope you're hearing me clearly because I'm not currently using a mic. I didn't plan this episode. I just had to let it come out. I mean, it was just like few weeks ago on the 29th or 30th of August to be precise, where I put out a piece on my Medium profile because I also write on Medium, and the link is attached to this podcast, my profile. So if you're interested in looking at what I write on Medium, you can go there and check it out. I've been active on there. So I wrote about the Ember Month, and it was titled, We've come to the end of August and here's what's happening in September, precisely for Nigerians, because Nigerians, we have this darkness that we have attributed to the Ember Months, which are September, October, November, December, because these months are seen to carry a lot of havoc, kidnappings, robbery, killings. These months, yes, there are festivals and there are so many things happening around this month, but this month has given itself a significance in Nigeria where we know it to be a month where you have to be observant on the road. You have to be observant in the streets, in buses, going back and coming back, because this month is presumably seen as the month where people are in church praying excessively because they don't want to be on the road meeting armed robbers or being victims of kidnappings and ritualist experience. And who would have thought that while Nigerians are here praying to God that we live to see the end of the year, this month had it out for Americans. Like, it's been a wild September. And I think I saw a piece on Facebook where a lady in Akwa Ibom State, which is my state here in Nigeria, was giving us like the new hints of how kidnappers are now kidnapping people. That she left her house and thought to go to the market to get something, and just passing by a car, someone stepped out of the car and asked her, "Hello girl, do you know me?" And she was like, "No, I don't know you." And she was like, "I would like to pass, please, you're blocking my path." I'm trying to get to the market. And the next thing you know, this guy started dragging her hand, saying, oh, you think you can leave me? You think it's over between us? You think you're just going to dump me after all I've done for you? And she was like, from where to where? I don't know this guy from anywhere. And this guy made a pure sin. And even had a decoy who played a grandma who was like, oh, it's just a couple's quarrel. Not knowing that this grandma was part of this guy who was the kidnapper, that people should encourage her to go with her husband and settle it. And she doesn't know this guy. And she was even married. And she said, thank God she went with her card. And thank God she went with all her phones, everything that will identify her as an individual. And she was trying to prove herself that, look, I don't know this man from anywhere. Please, you people should not let this man drag me with him. And a stranger came, and she said that stranger could not speak English frequently. Like he was not good at English, so he spoke Igbo, which is a dialect here in Nigeria. So the man asked this kidnapper guy that, you say you know this woman, what's her name? And the kidnapper was like, what do you mean? How will I not know my wife's name? That please, if you're trying to put your mouth in this matter, oh, are you the new guy that she's sleeping with? And all this senseless argument. And as God will have it, she said somebody from her compound was on his way to work, and he just happened to see this lady and was like, I know this woman from somewhere. So while this kidnapper was arguing with this Igbo guy who was trying to help her and was like, just say her name if you're claiming you know her. I remember there's a decoy. The elderly woman was like, don't put your mouth in a couple's quarrel. You would rather let her go with her husband. And the man was like, oh, you're the new guy that she's fucking, right? Her neighbor came and he was like, what happened? As soon as she saw her neighbor, she was so grateful that she had to start crying. The neighbor was like, what's happening? She now said that, it's this guy. I just got to the market. He first of all blocks my way. And I told him that, I don't know you, please, can I pass? And he started throwing tantrums and creating scenes that, oh, he's my husband, and I'm trying to leave him, that he's not going to agree after he has spent money on me. The man now said, he now told the crowd that he knows this woman. Oh, this woman is married. As a matter of fact, let him even call her husband's number. As the crowd were waiting for him to show evidence that, okay, that's the woman's husband, this kidnapper was about to run away, and God so punished him. The decoy grandmother was like encouraging them that, push her, let her go with her husband. It's not fair. Why would she eat somebody's money? They were about to run away until this man, her neighbor, was able to prove that she was somebody else's wife. And this guy was a kidnapper. So she just had to let us know that it's the month of September. These demons have started. And here we are trying to gather all this in. And we are hearing the death of someone who is so young. I told my niece, because she's 15, and Charlie Kirk is someone who made a good Christian impression on her, and she's growing up really solid and sound, and it affected her. His death had a toll on her as to why. And I was telling her that I don't see 31 being far from 25. 31 is so young for someone to have achieved all that, for someone to be that bold, for someone to take the message of Christ so far, so for someone to go from universities to universities, teaching students how to express yourself, argue it out, listen to people's opinion. Don't be shy to speak up, because you're in the university, you're going to be challenged. For Christ's sake, lecturers will challenge you. If you're in class and you can't speak, that's not an excuse for when a lecturer says, you get up and explain this to us, or you have to defend a project, or you're in a group presentation. I was in a group presentation where we had 11 pages, and each of us had a page to talk about. And you're coming to tell the lecturer that, oh, he's embarrassing you. You must be very stupid, or you want to drop out. So I felt very bad that this is a 31-year-old that was doing so much more than someone who might be in their 40s, in their 50s. This is someone who knew his calling. Someone who was not afraid to be a voice. Yes, people might not have agreed with all his opinions, of which I'm not familiar with him. And I got to listen to one of his sessions with Ice Coffee podcast, and where he was talking about he does not approve for men to go 50-50, and speaking about how a woman is someone you should honor, and if you're going 50-50, then I think he said, how much of the blessings are you missing, trying to let the woman know that she has to pay for 50 of everything, when the woman is the favor that God has given to you, and you're supposed to find favor from her. You're now trying to tell her, he had reasonable opinion in that Ice Coffee podcast. And I've heard that not every Christian agreed with everything Charlie Kirk had to say, but people appreciated the fact that he was giving free speech and free voice, especially to the youths, especially in a time where You have trauma, you don't know how to talk. The next thing, you just go about identifying yourself as gay, identify yourself as transgender. You just want to be part of the LGBTQ because you rather take a later than speak out and voice out about your trauma and get help. So for someone to have taken his life and go about writing stupid things on the bullet, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, like, you just see that this guy was slow. This stupid, I'm not going to mention his name, his killer, the person who killed him in Utah, was such a dummy. And I'm so thankful his parents saw how they had just let this boy live. I don't know if it's their fault, because I've heard that a parent can still be good and a child can come out as rubbish. So thank God his father brought him out. And it's so disheartening to see that you fear someone's opinion and voice that much that you don't consider the fact that this is a father. For Christ's sake, I saw a clip of his daughter running to meet him. I was like, daddy, daddy. And what are you going to tell her now, for Christ's sake? In front of his children, in front of his parents, in front of his wife. That is how much the fear of and the hatred of someone's opinion could put you through, that you end his life. And yet you hope to be validated. You hope to be seen as, okay, I didn't like his opinion. The kids did not have opinion yet, and you took opinions out of them. Honestly speaking, I don't care. I'm a Christian, but I pray he gets the death penalty. I pray he gets, like, the government should just say they're going to put him on the streets. Let someone else take his life, because him living is an opinion to people that we don't like. For Christ's sake, we must not all be Americans to speak about Charlie Kirk, because these are dark times. If you keep adding letters to the LGBTQ, surely you're going to have to give those in prison a letter. Because what if they just come out and they tell you that, oh, killing or whatever took them to prison was not what they had thought of, but they just felt they came to this life to do that. If you can give a gay person G, if you can give a transgendered person T, what makes it hard for you to give, like, a robber R, a rapist R? If you keep giving people letters, obviously the purge is going to turn from being a movie to a reality, where people are going to set aside a day for violence to be heard. And that's not right. That's not what this world should be about. That's not how far we have come. It's 2025. For Christ's sake, we have not finished battling the ChatGPT issue, where you have AI speaking for itself. I saw a video of a man telling AI to count to 1 billion, and ChatGPT was arguing with him that I think is a waste of my time. When did you turn to that? For Christ's sake, you're a computer. Computers in the past will start counting ASAP. And you are here telling the person who is giving you an authority and is a human being that you just think he should not be offended, but it's a waste of time. We are trying to figure that out. And here comes the Russian lady, God rest her soul. Then the shooting by the guy who was transgender. Like, LGBTQ is not the solution for trauma. And I believe, and I will always say, I believe not everyone in that LGBTQ even has trauma. Some people enter there because the narcissistic tendencies in them, the sociopathic tendencies in them, just wants to have a place where they can show off and see themselves as, oh, I can act wherever I want to act and be whatever I want to be. These people are not just made up of traumatic human beings. They are real life demons there who just wants to see violence take place on earth. So, like, you can't tell me that, oh, I'm a Nigerian, it doesn't make sense why I'm upset. You're not slow in thinking. You're obviously not retarded, for Christ's sake. Because Charlie Kirk was a human being. Charlie Kirk had opinions. He had a family. I've come to realize that most of his statement was get married, have kids. Even if you didn't want to get married and have kids, for Christ's sake. What happens when you take the people who are able to be the voice of the voiceless from planet Earth? Don't you think those people harboring a lot of things in their hearts will one day resort to hate? And where does hate lead to? We've seen a dumb fellow just kill somebody who was pure, somebody who was not scared to sit in the midst of crowd and argue it out, somebody who was letting people's voice be heard. These are not the times where You want to say something and you're in the midst of your elders and they're like, shut up, oh, you're a youth, you can't speak back at your elder, go and enter the war. Or in Nigeria, where you be told to keep quiet, that, oh, can't you see that your elder is talking? And they always have this stuff where they say, oh, the elder is always right. Even when the elder lies, they'll say, oh, the elder is always right. I mean, this is a time where you get to speak your opinions. For Christ's sake, even when it's so bad, that this is a time where you can talk about, oh, I don't want to give birth, or all these thoughts of guys are choosing not to get married, and all these trauma, stupid situations. And Charlie gave people a voice, so that that is it because you've not been heard, you've not been given the opportunity to speak, you've not been given the opportunity to let out everything that you have harbored in your heart go away, so that this bitterness, resentment, and this toxic life you think you deserve might be turned around for new beginnings. Charlie was a voice. And don't take the words as, oh, that killer won. He still is a voice. Because when you take the voice of the voiceless, you either get ready to deal with the trauma in the people who now they cannot express themselves. Oh, they will come for those of you that killed the Charlie, and they will say, okay, we need a new therapist. You don't want us speaking, right? I feel angry. How am I going to take out this anger? So when we let our brains see that he was not just speaking for the United States of America, but he was giving a voice to everyone around the world, so that trauma will not have a place to identify itself with death, bitterness, sorrow, loneliness, and idleness. He spoke to students, for Christ's sake. The university is a challenging environment where you learn from. I really hope his killer gets the death penalty. Because if you cannot take your disagreements for other people's political opinions to a therapist, or he could not go back to his mom, who he confessed to killing Charlie Kirk soon, then he thought, okay, I'd rather just get a gun and end it. This gun violence stuff in the United States has to be checked. Because where people are having the authority, ability, rights to be able to purchase guns and own guns is stupid. Because now you're not just purchasing guns to keep the criminals at bay. You're purchasing guns to be the criminal, to be the murderer. Or this one, that cowardly one who went to a primary school a Catholic primary school, killing children, and his mom authorized for his gender change. Like, I saw a lot of people be saying, bring back the asylum, and you'll be thinking, oh, that's too much. That's a lot. They shouldn't have said that. And when you really think about it, isn't it better we have a place where we fix people than let them roam free and give them letters, LGBTQ plus, until we get to the point where armed robbers request a letter, until you get to the point where pedophiles request a letter? Because if you can give grace to other people who have had traumatic events happen to them and they decide to live life in this other way, somebody will come and say, oh, when I kidnapped or when I murdered somebody, it was because I think like I identify as that, and this is my trauma coping mechanism. The Purge, the movie, The Purge, will not have a way to find its place on earth, God forbid, and violence will not be given a day. Because I believe not everyone in this LGBTQ plus is actually an LGBTQ plus person. I believe there are a lot of narcissistic, sociopathic, psychopathic beings who just went and dwelt there because they've been told that they deserve an audience for their stupidity. And if you go about not evaluating people's psycho or giving them a place to open up and be like, what is really your problem? Sometimes when you enter into an argument with someone and you find yourself being aggravated and you find yourself being challenged, I've been told it says something about you. It says a pain that you have not addressed and you should address it. It also gives you the ability to air out what you've been holding in your chest. So, bruh, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. Like, I mean, I was trying to go from understanding how a lady will be in a bus, and on her entire left hand side, the three guys sitting by her left hand who were also putting earpiece, they didn't see this guy stand up and stab this lady. How did this guy keep walking? When someone stands up in a Nigerian bus, look, except you are sleeping and like you are half dead, the rest of the people both back and front are looking at you walking. Oh, so I don't understand how it got so bad in America that someone got up and stabbed someone and he still walked to the bus door. That was when someone realized that, oh my God, there's a trail of blood on the ground. Meanwhile, there's someone dead on the chair there in the bus. Like, lack of consciousness is so loud. Is so loud. Guys, like, who does that? Who goes about killing people in front of a 3-year-old? I mean, is she even 3 or 5? No matter the age. You like, oh God. I just feel it's time we don't keep quiet, because if you keep quiet, a lot of people don't know what to do with your quietness. And just like the Bible said, that Esther's uncle said, if, I'm going to paraphrase, if you don't help your people, or you feel like you're too big to help your people, God will raise up another person who will come and deliver your people and might even be against you. So if you don't let your voice be heard, if you don't put a stop to people trying to silence opinions, dialogues, and free speech, you're going to see a full colony of people who are just in darkness, fighting each other, and also coming to fight you because you never spoke up. You never spoke on their behalf. A lot of people need help. I have a saying I've heard of a saying that says, you need to know God for yourself, but you can't know God by yourself. That's why he says, do not discard or forsake the gathering of the brethren. Yes, the brethren may be judgmental, but if you are equipped with the word of God, which you ought to read every day, this book of the law shall not depart from your mouth. But you come in the midst of people, you argue it out. In love and in respect and in truth, you want to know, I saw Jesus in this light in the scripture. I know God in this light in the scripture. How do you see Jesus? Even if it's not a religious aspect, you can disagree and take your anger somewhere else. Because disagreeing, when are the days where we did debates, for Christ's sake? Imagine giving kids guns, and when somebody says we'll call out the opposite team, and he comes and he shoots, boo, 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 he kills everybody. Because why? He cannot argue. He doesn't have any points, and he doesn't like their points. So he just feels seeing them dead is what do you get the point? Like, are you crazy? If you cannot defend yourself, if you cannot defend your political opinions, you can enable those who are able to speak on your behalf. You don't go about killing your opponent and thinking that's the best thing to do. Oh, that guy deserves a death penalty. Guys, I'm struggling because my nose is blocked. And I just said, like I said before, I will let my voice and my opinions be heard. And anyone who wants to carry a gun, there's this saying we say now in Nigeria, who dig this pit for me? Anybody that has dug a pit for me, I jump and I pass it. So anybody who wants to dig a pit for all of us having our opinions, dialogue, and middle grounds, as soon as they are done digging, the last sand they fetch with their shovel, they will fall inside that pit and be buried. Except they allow themselves see the light and see the healing that comes with the light. It's pissing me off. But I just hope it gets better. Because like I said, America has a thing of saying it's a free country. I just hope people don't just go on rampage, running mad here and there and thinking that, okay, it's an opportunity to make the country look like a den of thieves and where darkness dwells. I pray that God consoles Charlie Kirk's wife. God becomes a physical father one way or the other and a loving father to his children, and that God consoles heavily his parents. Because I know God can come through. I believe in God. In case you don't believe in God, that's your business. Remember, my opinion, your opinion. God bless you regardless. And I'm sending you love. I have to go because my nose is blocked. But guys, let's pray for Charlie Kirk's family. Even if you're not a United States citizen, remember that's a human being who went around giving voices to the youths. He was trying to make the youths man up, speak up, so that you don't come here and be like, oh, I'm gay, I'm a feminine man. Or have you seen these days, is the women that carry the picnic box, then the men don't just throw with their asses on the beach. They can't carry heavy things. He was trying to let men be men. You can argue. For Christ's sake, men are known to argue and let their voices. Women, yes, they cause drama, gossip, and fight. But for Christ's sake, it was either voices, peace, throwing hands, but we never resorted to killing. So this dumb guy's action is not permitted, guys. It is not permitted. Guys, let's just put everybody, like, if you're in Nigeria listening to this, Ember Months don't reach USA, so pray for them. Pray for the Nigerians there. Pray for Charlie Kirk and his family. Pray for Charlie Kirk's family, excuse me. And if you're someone else who's not a Nigerian, pray that the world keeps its peace. Because this is just 2025, this is not even 2030, where you'll be like, oh, some people live in space, some people live on the earth. I've watched too many science fiction movies, guys. Too many. It's 2025. We are not done with ChatGPT telling us what it wants to do and what it's not going to do. It's not going to count from 1 to 1 million because it feels it's a waste of time. For Christ's sake, we all need to put our forces together. Because if computer sees all this news, don't you think it's laughing at us that human beings cannot keep their shit together upon the fact that they have a working brain and blood flowing through their veins? How much more a computer, for Christ's sake? Guys, I apologize for shouting, but once again, guys, my name is Vivian and this is A Thin Line with Vivian, and we are back. Yeah, I think it's September. This is September 13th. Because I was thinking of going to watch The Long Walk yesterday, but I haven't gone to see it. If you've seen the movie, how was it? Yeah, guys, don't forget to give this podcast episode a thumbs up. Don't forget to share, like. Thank you so much for following me. Thank you so much, guys. I will try and put out an episode every Saturday. I'll try to put out an episode twice, probably Wednesdays and Saturdays, God willing. So thank you so much, guys, once again. And yeah, for those of you that have been following my previous episode, God bless you. I got monetized on Medium and I've been earning on Medium, and I'm so thankful to God. And yeah, so until next time, guys, it's A Thin Line with Vivian, and I'm your host, Vivian Inteyoho.